everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you all how I budget. So I am kind of a nerd about personal finance, and I love keeping track of our expenses so that I feel more in control of our money. And so today I'm going to show you how I do that. Now, I've shared a lot of things with you guys. I've shared my weight, I've shared my shower routine, I've shared videos of me crying, but I'm not going to show you my income and expenses. So I'm going to show you everything that I do on my computer, but it's going to be a template of the budget that I use. But this template is going to be linked down below so that you can use it if you want to budget the same way I do. So let's get started. It's taken me a little while to figure out this system. I've kept track of my budget on paper before. We tried using a whiteboard for a little while, but then I landed on Google Sheets. And the nice thing about having a budget on Google Sheets is that I can update it and Justin can update it, and it's updating in real time. And not only that, but we can update it on the go. I have the Google Sheets app on my phone, and so whenever I make a purchase, I can just put it in my phone right away and it updates our budget. So let me show you what our budget looks like. So first I'll show you that at the bottom we have all these tabs. I started this system back in October of 2019, but I have one tab per month, and then we have our blank budget here. This is what you'll see in the blank budget that again is linked down below if you want to use it. So let me show you real quick. You're going to follow the link and you're going to go file, make a copy, and then you name it whatever you want to name your budget. This way it's not the public budget, it's actually a private file in your own Google Drive. And if you have someone you split your budget with, you're going to go file, share, and then put in the Gmail address of the person you want to share it with. Make sure you have editor checked off so that they can also edit the spreadsheet, and then you're going to press send. This is set up so that every month we can just duplicate the page. So under here we go to duplicate, and then you have a copy of the blank budget. I always keep the current month at the front of all of our tabs, and then I'm going to go ahead and rename it. We'll call it February of 21. So usually the blank budget is already set up. So at the top here we have income. So I have Justin's income and then my income. We know how much we make every 2 weeks, and so we double it. We don't factor in like trying to take your annual income and dividing it by 12 to get a monthly amount, because then we're always going to be negative except for those few months that you get paid extra. So we always calculate it based off of just what we would get in 4 weeks. So say Justin makes $1,000 every 2 weeks, I would put $2,000 as our budget here, and then say I make the same, and I have it all set up with formulas. So as soon as I put that in, it automatically calculates our total income, and then that is the budgeting column. So this is how much we budget that we will make, but then this column is actual. Once we get paid, so say February 4th, Justin's gonna get paid. I would put in the date, his employer name, and then I would put he got paid $1,000. And then that automatically goes over here under actual, and then it automatically calculates the difference between the budgeted amount and the actual amount. So say he worked a little bit of overtime this month and he actually gets paid $1,200, then that'll go over there, $800, and then when he gets paid the second time, say he just gets paid his normal $1,000, then that'll calculate over there that he made $2,200, and the difference was negative $200, so he got paid $200 extra. So let's just assume that went like normal, and then assume that I got paid like normal. So this would all calculate out, so that is our actual amount. That's the income amount. If it's a month that we do get paid a third time, I just add in an extra line, and then it'll automatically calculate it so we have extra. But again, our budgeted amount is only $4,000 for the month. It's like a bonus on those months that we do get paid a fifth time, and it's not something that we're counting on. The next section after income is our bills. So this would be our regular expenses that pretty much don't change every month. I did include utilities on this, even though our electric can change month to month. These are just the general expenses. And as you can see, I have them all listed over here. I always put them in order of which ones are due first, and I put the due date in front of it. So on the 1st, our rent is due. On the 7th, this student loan is due, so that I know that, and so I can kind of keep track of it throughout the month. I usually include the actual name of the bill, so I would change this to be like Sally Mae or something. This column again is our budgeted column. So say that our rent is $800 a month, student loan, I don't know, $200. I'm just gonna fill these in with totally random amounts. So then once these bills are actually paid, that's when I put it in there. I just put the date that it was actually deposited. So, you know, our rent is due on the 1st of the month, but usually that check doesn't clear till like the 10th. I would put the 10th there and then put how much was deposited. A lot of these we have on automatic bank payments, so I just check it after it went through and do this. And I usually over budget for all of these expenses. So say our student loan payment is $197. I would put it in there as $200 because I like it when all of our accounts are green on the side there. I don't know. And that way I also always know that there's extra in our budget. So say that one was $197. And as you can see, this automatically subtracts the budgeted amount from the actual amount. Say our electric bill was super high this month and it was actually $100, it would say -10. So again, I'm just gonna go ahead and put some random amounts in here. But that's bills. That one's pretty straightforward. Say you start a new subscription, you can just add a line, put in the due date, what it's for. Say it's about 20 bucks a month. Then what I would do here is do equals minus the budgeted amount and the actual column. And then that'll set up your equation so that when you actually pay that one, then that'll automatically subtract it. So that part's pretty easy. And then expenses is a little bit different. On our blank budget, we have set up certain amounts that we have budgeted for every month. So say we budgeted 300 bucks a month for groceries, 50 bucks for eating out, 100 for gas. We go to the laundromat, unfortunately, so 20 bucks for laundry, 100 bucks for date night, 100 for car maintenance, 50 for pet supplies. One of the recent changes that we made in our budget was to separate out our expenses. I have a certain amount that I would spend on myself per month, like clothing or when I go and get a haircut or alcohol, stuff like that. And there's stuff that Justin would spend on. So we separate that out so that we have a certain amount, and that kind of just keeps us accountable. For a long time, we just had an extra expenses column and it was kind of for both of us and we weren't really keeping track of it very well. And we went over that amount every single month. So then I just separated it out. And then there's of course other expenses that are for both of us. So that's, again, our budgeted amount. And so this is a little different than regular bills because it's not going to be one lump sum payment. So I don't actually put it in this second column right away. I put it over in these further columns. So say I go to Aldi and get some groceries, it's $60.75. And these cells over here are going to automatically add up and put it into the actual amount. So the column here is set up to be the sum of these, basically. So every month we have to add in some new columns over here because we go grocery shopping a few times a month. Say we go to Aldi and then a few days later we go to Giant and spend 100 bucks. And then a few days later we go back to Aldi, spend 80 bucks. So that'll automatically add up and go over there. And then again, this will automatically subtract. So it'll take the budgeted $300 and the $240 that we spent from these 3 purchases and say we have $59 left to spend. Say we do one more purchase over at Giant, then we're in the negative. And actually there's one thing I'm gonna change before uploading this for you guys because on my budget, I actually have it so that if we're in the negative, this cell will turn red. And actually up here, if my income is -100, that means we've made $100 more than the budgeted amount. So this would turn green. And again, down here, if it's in the positive, then it'll be green. If it's in the negative, it'll be red. So I'm gonna change that, but that's how it is on our budget. So then again, eating out, say we go to Dunkin', spend 10 bucks. Say on the 20th, we go to Taco Bell. I don't know. So then that automatically adds over here and subtracts here. And this is why Google Sheets is like the best way to budget like this because I can access it on my laptop like this, but I can also access it on my phone. You know, when I'm in the Taco Bell drive-thru, I can take the amount that it was, put it right in here, and then it's already in there. I don't have to go back and look on my bank statements. I'm gonna go ahead and put in some random amounts here. That's basically how I do my expenses. I'm not gonna fill it all in and bore you to death. Then the last part that we have down here is savings. I like to keep my savings separate so that I have a goal for savings. So right now I have it down here that we're saving for Christmas, to save a little bit every month for Christmas so that it's not like crazy stressful in December, and then to save for a future vacation. So say we're trying to save 100 bucks a month for Christmas and I don't know, 200 bucks a month for a vacation. Generally for this, I would just say on our first payday, I set aside 100 bucks and I put it in our savings account. This one is usually set up so that if I save more than I budgeted, that's a good thing. So I actually have it set up that this will turn green. Say we're saving like 100 bucks per paycheck and we get paid 4 times a month. Then at the bottom here, I have it set up to calculate the total of the entire spreadsheet. So all of our income, all of our bills, and all of our expenses. Actually up here, I had the total income again from this and this budgeted amount. At the bottom here, I have our total expenses budgeted. That includes our bills, expenses, and savings. So this is all of the money that we estimate that we'll spend throughout the month. And then this amount, budget balance, takes our total income amount minus our total expenses. So we have $70 left in the budget. I like to keep this at pretty much zero so that I'm not spending extra money on stupid stuff. So even if that just means putting this $70 towards savings. So instead of $200 towards vacation, I can budget $270 and then it's at zero. And then over here again, this C column is our actual column. So this is the actual amount that we made in the month. Again, I put an extra $100 or something for overtime. So we actually made $4,100. And then this would be our total expenses. So the total amount that we actually spent, again, all the way from rent, our first bill, down through expenses and through the actual amount that we had saved for the month. And this adds up all of those. So this is the actual amount that we spent throughout the whole month. And then this equation would be the amount that we actually made throughout the month minus the amount that we actually spent throughout the month. And this is how much we actually have left over. So as long as that's in the positive, we're good. And so that's pretty much it. That's how I budget. And it works really well for us, again, because Justin can access it, I can access it, we can access it on the go. And it's really easy once you have these calculations all set up to just plug in the numbers and just put it right in there. Another reason that this is really important to keep track of all of our expenses this way is because we actually put all of our expenses through our credit card. I currently use the Capital One Venture Rewards card, so we get rewards travel points every single time we make a purchase. We put all of our expenses, like actually everything, through this credit card so that we can maximize our travel points. But it also makes it really hard to keep track of how much money we actually have. I kind of ignore the amount that's in our bank account because I know that as long as my budget is good and my actual amounts are pretty similar to the budgeted amounts, then I know that we're good on expenses. So this is how we budget every month. I also have a whole separate spreadsheet for how we keep track of our debt. So like I said, I'm a total nerd about personal finance and I love learning more about this sort of thing. I love watching videos like this that show how other people do it, and I would love to share more tips like this. So if you're interested in this type of content, click the thumbs up button down below and leave a comment if you have any questions or suggestions. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button down below and press the notification bell next to it so that you don't miss a video. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and I'll see you next week.